Krupa Shankar. Fellow Toastmasters, a very good evening to all of you. Have you ever considered creativity being part of the automobile? It seems like such a mundane, unconnectable idea. So the point is, Shinkara, one of the great motivational writers, said that successful people don't really do different things, they do things differently. So does creativity really have any role to play in the history of the automobile? Just close by, across the border, in Detroit, at Highland Park, we have the Ford Motor Company, which was registered in 1903. Preceding this, Mr. Henry Ford had manufactured something called as a quadricycle, and he had patented it in 1886. By then, Carl Benz had already patented an automobile. All those ran on big bicycle wheels on four sides of a frame. You know, the great grandfather of the cars that we drive today. So, Ford started off by making the Ford Model T. The first of it was out, I guess, in 1908. But then he was not really happy in the sense that his idea, as opposed to that of the other car manufacturers, was not just to make cars accessible or affordable to those who could afford it and wanted it, but his idea was to put a car in every American home. That was the difference in intention. This difference in intention unleashed his creativity. He didn't come up with a brilliant idea on his own. He just went about asking people and taking help to see how he could make his intention see the light of day. And in the course of his search, he came across this gentleman, Frederick Taylor, who in 1910 propounded the concept of scientific management. So basically this was centered around work motion studies in industry to find out how, by organizing your work in a particular way, you can do it better, deliver more. One of his first experiments was the shifting of pig iron, which is very heavy. A laborer could shift 1.5 tons in the course of a day. By determining when to give the rest breaks and of what length the rest break should be, he was able to push it up to 47.5 tons in a day by one human being. And shoveling. What is the ideal kind of shovel which will help shovel the most soil? And he found that the shovel which picks up 21 pounds is the best. And designed one which would specifically pick up 21 pounds. And later on, he and his colleagues did work on bricklaying. So this is, the kind of management we are looking at. And he looked and heard Ford's story, and then he devised a method, the first of what we today know as the assembly line. Prior to that, what used to happen was that there would be a table like this, and one master craftsman automobile maker would stand in place, and lots of people would go around and he would say, hey, get that part, get this one. And then he would assemble a car. And this they did for several years, till such time as they were able to make a car in 12 hours. So the first assembly line didn't have a conveyor belt. It was running on just slides. So the start of the assembly line was at the height, and the end of the assembly line was at the bottom, and these were connected by small little slides, kind of like the kind of slides we see in parks, which we all have played on as children, and our children continue to play. So they would bring a chassis, fit a couple of wheels, roll it down, somebody would put a mud flap, roll it down, third person puts in a headlight, fourth person mounts the engine, and so on. With this, they were able to cut it from 12 hours to 6 hours, and with some little training for the workers, they were able to bring it down to 93 minutes. Okay, with just this idea, they were able to push up the production 8-fold. So that around 1914, the year the First World War began, Ford company had manufactured single-handed more cars in one plant than all the cars manufactured in all the countries all over the world. Just check that. If this isn't creativity, tell me what is. Now, coming to the other part as to how our cars and how our lives have changed over the years. You put a picture of a Model T, you get it. You just put it on Google, you get it. You put a picture of a Model T and look at the picture of a man of 1908 or 1913 standing next to it. Put a picture of the current Ford, whatever your favorite model is, and put a picture of the current man next to it. you will see what has happened to the car in all these years, and you'll see what has happened to the man in all these years. The car Ford Model T is light, it doesn't need a road, it's an off-roader, it can do wonderfully well on the road, it can do all kinds of territory, it can just drive through ruts, through snow, and through place where there's a drop of 5 feet, it can just go down like that and not fall down. Try that with any of the cars that we have today. And the man also was like that. He was lean, he was lanky, he was a multitasker, and the doctor of that day did everything from doing teeth to delivering babies. Now we have got a specialist for the right ear and one for the left ear. And if you want to do cross-country driving, you need to buy a different vehicle for that. If you want to zip at 200 kilometers per hour, you need to buy a different vehicle for that. If you want just a car to take your family and drop your kids to school and go to office, you have another car. And in this category, incidentally, I would like to mention the vehicle which has sold the most numbers in the 21st century in terms of its utility to our current state of life is the Toyota Corolla. Okay? So you see how our lives and our cars and creativity are all well connected. But then having said all this, do you know when the first auto-propelling vehicle was first ever made? Can you guess? I didn't know either till I started preparing for this talk. Ferdinand Verbius, a Jesuit mission in China, built the first steam-powered vehicle around 1672 as a toy for the Chinese emperor. Can you believe this? We have been around with a self-propelled vehicle for so long. Let me finish by asking you one simple question. Do you know what the word car actually stands for? Has anybody thought about it? Car is short for carriage. Horseless carriage was the name initially given to it, and carriage became car. So even today, if you were to see town planners, what they say is passageway for pedestrians and carriageway for all motorized vehicles. They don't use the word road and sidewalk and all that like we do. Town planners still use those terms. Carriageway, the space set aside for the wheels in motion. And the two shouldn't overlap except at the zebra crossing, and where there's a stop sign and there's a traffic light. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for a patient hearing.